Hello, friends. Today is May 29th, 2021, over here, my local time. Just want to make a quick Bitcoin crypto video talking about the recent moves, some of my thoughts. Hopefully, it will be helpful to you guys, and hopefully, it will be helpful to myself since this will be my little trading journal. And so recently, the chart is not looking good or not looking good at all. I remember I published this idea, a few ideas like earlier this month, like about 2, 3 weeks ago. At that time, I really think this will be an ABC corrective move, and then we'll test the 200 EMA, and then also the high from January 2021, and then we'll bounce off, like goes higher from that point and make a ABC move. I think if we were at a bull market or 100% bullish, um, from May, then that should be the move because the 200 EMA has been a very strong support on the daily chart all the way from, I guess, like last year, early last year, since the huge crash due to COVID and SP 500 dump, right? So around 2, 3 weeks ago, I really thought it was going to be an ABC corrective move, and it was really a textbook like correction. So if I take the all-time high to the low, we can see it retrace like to 0.65 on the fib retracement, the ratio. And if I take a fib extension from the all-time high to the low to the higher to lower high, we can see the 1-to-1 is about 42,000, 41,500, and that's almost exactly at the 200-day EMA and at the January high. So at that time, I really thought it's just gonna be like this: A, B, and C to the 1-to-1, right? To the 1-to-1. So, and we'll bounce off from the 200 EMA and the January high. That should have been the case in my thought, and I was ready. I remember at this point, at this drop over here, the huge drop over here at 0.65, bunch of people are saying it's gonna go, it's gonna go higher, right? It's just a little dump, and we're gonna have a what, double bottom over here, and then we're just gonna keep higher because there's a support in March, and it's gonna be a triple bottom or something, whatever. By that time, I really thought it's gonna be an ABC corrective move, and to the 1-to-1 extension to the 200 EMA and the January high. And 200 EMA, as I mentioned, if we go back, it was a support since all the way like April last year. So it's been more than 1 year as a support. We never went down below this line, right? We've been having some lows like May, even September. I remember this crash like wiped out a bunch of people because they thought it's going to be a bull market. You're going to make so much money, right? They do like 100 times, I don't know, 100 times, 10 times leverage. And this liquidated a bunch of some of the people I know. But even at those low points, we never, went below this line. So it's been a strong, very strong support for like a year, for like a whole year, more than a year. But now we're below this. And also the January high was also a pretty strong support for almost 6 months, right? From like a 4 or 5 months. And then at the dump, at the low at February, we still bounced off. Like it was a support over here, right? It was strong support over here. So that's why on May 4th, and actually around May 12th, right? Around May 12th, like a week or 2 weeks ago, I also published idea. I thought, okay, if we were gonna go to 0.65 retracement, maybe we can go higher from here. Sometimes the ABC move, they won't correct. The correction won't go that much, right? And as I said, it could be a support over here since it was a low at March. And a lot of people thought like that, right? Maybe it's a triple bottom or a small head or shoulder. if you want to call it, right? It could be, it could be a small head of shoulder, right? Like a shoulder, and this is the head, right? And then we're gonna have a small shoulder, another shoulder over here, right? It's very, people thought it was possible, and I thought it was possible too because it's correcting at 0.65 retracement. However, it never ended there, right? It could be 1-to-1 also, as we're thinking, because 200 EMA and the January high. However, when I was just ready that day to buy it at this point, and you can see I'm using T1 indicator sequential, excuse me, as well, or some people using MRI or whatever, right? Whatever you call it, it's a almost similar indicator. We think when it's a ninth, if it's a ninth or 13th, candle, the bull or the bear sort of run is gonna be exhausted, and sort of like we're gonna have a bounce, or we're gonna have a bull run, like a small, at least a small bullish sort of like rise from here, right? But it was never the case. When I see what I was thinking, it was gonna be a really sharp drop from this candle to here. If we were having a really sharp drop over here, then yes, I thought we would be having a bounce over there. However, you can see on the chart, we were like really slowly, and we're touching here. And if we're slowly touching here, this might not be a stop point, right? If we were having a really fast like drop, then yes, I expect at least a pullback to the middle, maybe like the 65.65, even 0.382, right, to 50K from 40K. That would be really nice, but it never happened. It was like really slow, what I call like a slow bleeding. So later on, at that point, when it dropped below the 200 EMA around 8 days ago, I published an idea saying this was like a really slow bleeding rather than like what I said, a huge drop and then we bounce back, right? Because from the previous sort of like drops, we can see that's always the case, right? That's always the case. If the March drop, we dropped all the way like this, and then the candle, right? We dumped it low, but then we closed higher. The candle just looks like something like, okay, this is a rectangle, and then we draw a line over here, and the close is always like pretty far from the low and pretty close to the high, right? So you can see this candle over here, the ninth candle, right? We were having like the low is pretty far from the close, so we actually pushed all the way higher to close this day, and this candle as well, right? The eighth or the sixth candle. But over here, it's a different scenario. You can see the close is really near the low and is really far from the high. So this basically means, in my opinion, like when we open, we want to push higher, but we couldn't, right? And then we push lower, sure, like, but we still had the opportunity to close higher and make this a pretty bullish sort of like candle. Then maybe there's a reverse, but it never happened. It pushed a little bit higher and then it closed for the day. So around a week or 2 weeks ago, a week ago, excuse me, like May 21st, I changed my thought, and it's really not a one-to-one extension in my opinion. Like, it's not gonna be a simple ABC move and then having an ABC sort of like a bullish or a bull run, right? It's not a correction move, ABC move from the top, from the all-time high to the lower high, in my opinion anymore. It's more like we're gonna have probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move to the low, because as I said, if we take the fib retracement from the all-time high to the low, we see it went back to 0.65 level, and that's very common for Elliot wave, wave 1 and wave 2. So for Elliott wave, if this is a wave one, and if this is a wave two, it was very likely to trace back like to 0.65 level. That's just wave one and wave two, right? If we have a bullish run, it was supposed to, it would be very close. It may be a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but it will be around there. So in this case, we were having a pretty typical one and two wave, right? And then if we take the FAPE retracement, FAPE extension, excuse me, if we say this is wave one and this was wave two, right? We take the retracement from all-time high to the low to the high, and then we can see it dropped to, when it dropped to 30K, it was around 1.618. It was so this is a pretty big move right here. This move is pretty big. If it's a bear move like this much, drop to like a 1.61 extension, then I don't think it's gonna be over like that fast. Bunch of people I remember like on TradingView are saying, okay, it's gonna be a V-shaped recovery, like it's gonna be a V-shaped recovery like this, and we're gonna bounce back a little bit, and then we're all-time high. But in my opinion, if it dropped that much, if it dropped that much to 1.618, there's no way it's gonna be a V-shaped recovery. Like, how is this possible? It's impossible for Bitcoin to drop this much and just have an immediate V-shaped recovery. Like, what is the catalyst? There's no catalyst, and there's no news. There's nothing, right? We can say those pumps are caused by Elon Musk or whatever having a tweet, right? Going bullish on cryptos, so it went so high, or maybe the U.S. government kept printing money, right? Keep printing money, and then SP 500. If we look at the SP 500 chart, it was even crazier, right? It was even crazier from the bull run over here. So yeah, sure, the Bitcoin, inflation, everything, right? And people are just generally bullish in the market, right? And then the U.S. government kept pumping money. So sure, we had a really huge bull run. But then when we have this kind of drop, sure, some people are saying, okay, Elon Musk tweeted, oh, Tesla won't accept Bitcoin or whatever. It's a catalyst for the drop, right? So once it has a catalyst for the drop, and some people or some institutions become not that bullish or even bearish on Bitcoin or crypto for the short-term analysis, or their ideas changed a little bit bearish, how are we going to have a V-shaped recovery? There's no way we're going to have a V-shaped recovery over like this, right? In my opinion, it could be if there were a recovery, it could be we go like, let me change another path. Maybe we go like this, right? And maybe we go like this. The 200 EMA was a strong support, and now if we blow it, it will be a very strong resistance, right? And also the January high as well. So maybe we're gonna go a little bit lower. Maybe we're gonna test again, and then we break out. And even if we break out 200 EMA, there's no way we're gonna break out like this to 75K. It will be breakout in the middle, maybe to 49K, 50K, something like that. And we're gonna retest the low like in March, right? Or this head over here, we're gonna retest it, and then maybe we'll go back to test the 200 EMA again. If this time we don't break the 200 EMA and it's a support, then sure, we could go higher, and all-time high will be resistance. We pull back a little bit, we go higher, right? I think that could be the case. That might be the case, but it seems like we're not going that route, right? We're having a down, and then we retest it, and we go low, and this is pretty low at this moment. We're at 33K, right? Maybe we're gonna test again, but in my opinion, if 200 EMA, if we don't break this 200 EMA, this resistance, we're far from all-time high again, or a bull market again. So I think on TradingView, even on YouTube, and even a bunch of people I really like, they're saying we're gonna be like this, right? Oh, the low is in already. Now we're gonna break, and we're gonna go to like 50K, and then a little bit lower, and then we're gonna go all-time high or whatever. It's not gonna happen. In my opinion, it's not gonna happen. Not at all, right? Even like what I explained, even if we're gonna have a recovery, it will break the 200 EMA a little bit, and then we're gonna retest and then break out, right? Retest the all-time high or whatever. But it was never gonna be like that. So as I published the idea a week ago, I really think at that time a lot of people really hated this idea. I don't know, whatever reason, other people were, those bullish guys were all having like 100 likes, and I'm having like a bunch of people like give me pretty mean comments. I wasn't saying I'm bearish on Bitcoin. I'm just saying it could be a bear scenario. We should always think about bearish scenario, right? Especially when we had this much bear drop, right? When we had this much drop, like how much did we drop? Like we dropped 50%. We dropped 50%. If we drop 50%, how are we only thinking about being bullish? We're always bullish in the crypto markets, huh? So, in my opinion, again, at that time, it was only like after the huge dump to 30K, it was like 2 candles. I thought it was gonna pull back a little bit and keep dropping because that's just gonna be the bear scenario, especially. Again, let me see, where's Elliot wave? Okay, over here. Especially, as I explained, this is level 1, level 2. If this is 3, 4, 5, it could play out just like that, right? From wave 1 to wave 2, it retreats back to 0.65, which is like a typical, sort of like a textbook, wave 1 to wave 2, sort of like retracement. And then if we take extension, it's 1.618. That's a very huge run, right? Very huge dump. So that is also a pretty much textbook wave 3 analysis. Level 1, level 2, and level 3. Right? If we have a bullish run just like this, right? This much from wave 2 to wave 3, 1.618 is very textbook, sort of like a wave 3. So if this were the case, if this were wave 3, what about wave 4? Well, again, if we take the fib retracement from 0.2 to 0.3, the 3.382, the level here is at January high and 200-day EMA. And what's more funny and interesting is that wave 4 typically pull back to 0.382 as well. This is a textbook 0.382 pullback on wave 4. And wave 4 should never pull back to wave more higher than wave 1. That's why I'm saying, if we were having a bull market again, then sure, we'll pull back above 200 EMA, maybe getting rejected, tested the hat over here, and then we go back. And if we break level 1 again, then this sort of like 5-wave Elliot wave for bear market, it's just doesn't play like that anymore, right? It breaks. It's just not valid anymore. If we only pull back to 0.38, which is a very textbook wave 4 Elliot wave, and we test the 200 EMA and the high again, and if we do not break this, if wave 4 play like this to the 3.82 level, then it's very likely this is again a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Elliot wave, 5-wave structure, right? And it seems like we're playing exactly like what I said like a week ago. That's exactly what we played, like the Bitcoin dropped like this. So if this plays out, what's gonna happen for wave 5? What's gonna happen for wave 5 if we take a fib retracement from 2 to 3 to 4? We can see at 65 level, we're about 20K. At 121, I really don't think we're gonna go that far. One of the reasons is the RSI is pretty low at this moment already. So okay, if at a bear scenario, sure, we could drop a little bit, but if we drop like that to 20K, that will be almost the low. If we see try to see the lowest, like sort of like RSI it is at probably like 2018, right? It was never below this sort of like scenario. Then I think maybe drop to 20K will be, the lows. And I really doubt it's gonna be below this. So at this point around here on the RSI, and also when we drop to again like wave 5, right? If we drop to 20K, which is also the high from the 2017 bull run, right? Which is over here. If we drop over here, I expect that's the low already. That's the low already, regardless, because at this point it's truly exhausted. Even we're having a bear run over here, we're fully exhausted in my honest opinion, right? In my honest opinion. And also there's another way to measure wave 5, which is, we try to see like how much the wave 1 went, and then we attach to wave 4. We can see it's about 21K and 20K, right? So if we were really drop this much, if this 5 wave structure is really gonna play out, I think the low is 20K. And at 20K, I think the low is in. If we were really gonna have this bearish 5 wave structure, because of the RSI, the chart, the wave, and then a strong support. The 2017 high should be a very strong support. Like we were trying to break it like what for 2 times, like last November, like we pushed, we dropped, we pushed, we dropped, and then we broke out the all-time high, right? So that should be a very strong support at this point. Could we go lower than this? Like bearish just gonna go to 10K, 5K? Possible, but even that case happens, I expect a pullback at that point. So if it's 20K, I expect a pullback at that point. And then if it drops, it drops. However, 20K, in my opinion, should be the low. And then we're going to have a bounce back. So again, even this 5 wave play out, I really hope if Bitcoin were going to drop to this level, I really hope it's going to be something like a really fast sort of like drop, and give us a knife over here to catch. That would be the best scenario. Like if, like I really hope the candle for the drop to the low to this point will be something like this, right? We open like that, maybe we'll push a little bit higher, and then we drop all the way to 20K or something, and then we push back close, which is a really bullish close in this bear red candle. And then at that point, I think the next day or next few days will be keep going higher. So I think it's very likely this plays out. And if it goes to 20K, I will all in for sure. Either Bitcoin or Ethereum or some other altcoins I really like. And I think that will be a really good opportunity at that time. However, like what I said, could it be possible this 5 wave doesn't play out and we're gonna be, shooting all-time high again? Yes, it's possible, but the possibility is very low. But hypothetically speaking, if that happened, if that were gonna happen, we're not gonna have a V-shaped recovery. Instead, we'll go like this. Sorry, I'll use the path to explain. If we're gonna have like this, right? And then this is a resistance. We come down, but we should never come down below this, making a lower low. It's more like making a higher low, maybe somewhere like this. And then we go to 200 EMA, and then we pull back even higher than the previous higher low. So we keep making higher lows, and eventually we break the 200 EMA, right? We break 200 EMA, the strong resistance, but we're gonna test these lows again, whether this low or this low. And maybe and most likely we're gonna get rejected, because in 1 hour, 15 minutes, those charts, the RSI is gonna be skyrocketing to the top, right? From this bullish sort of like run, and then we're gonna pull back a little, but we will not pull back below the 200 EMA, because at this point, this should be a strong support again if we were having a bullish run. If this is like a fake breakout and we keep, then we'll break 200 EMA and you know, make those lows again. But if we're gonna making a bullish run, we're gonna be having like this, we break out, and then 200 EMA is gonna be a strong support again. And then if we bounce out from that point, sure, I'm seeing 65K again, and then maybe we get rejected from breaking out again, because RSI and every other indicator will be super exhausted. Some people will take profit, and then we go to 75K, whatever. However, before we can break out the 200 EMA, this bear scenario is still taking place. So two scenarios in summary. Maybe a 1-2, we're playing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're gonna be at 20K at the low, in my opinion, to the 2017 high. Or like what I said, if we were really gonna go bullish, and this is a fake drop, I guess, a fake dump below the 208 moving exponential moving average, sure, we're gonna test 200 EMA again. We did a few days ago, and then we drop, making higher lows, test again, making higher lows again, and then we break out, right? Then we break out, and then we test the 200 EMA again. We go to all-time high, 65 again. We test, get rejected, come making higher lows, and then we break out. That could be the case. It doesn't matter if you're bull or not. If you're really trying to long this thing, or Bitcoin or other cryptos, really just wait until it breaks out the 200 EMA. When it breaks out the 200 EMA, if you want to buy that point, sure, you can buy that point. But like what I said, even when it breaks out, just wait a little bit after it pull back to retest the 200 EM again, because I guarantee you it's gonna test again. And then maybe at this point, if it doesn't break out, if it goes like this, maybe buy over here, and then sure, at least you'll see it goes all-time high, like 65K, or even break out again, right? But now I don't know why people or others, some gurus, would recommend people or us to buy at this point, and they're saying we're gonna see 50K, we're gonna see 60K again. There's no way we're gonna see 60K. Like, we can't even break 200 EMA. We can't even break this 42,000. We can't even make to 43, 45,000 to test this low. How is it possible we look 50K an all-time high, right? But you're like, oh, what if I missed the trend? There's no way you missed the trend, right? You missed 20%. Okay, you missed 20% from 33K to 40K. But are you really missing that much? I think like most people in crypto markets, or people investing in cryptos, Bitcoin, like us, we're really not looking for 20% returns, right? If we're looking for 20% returns, might as well spend, making SP 500 or something. Everybody in this market looking for 10 times, 20 times returns. So even you wait right now, you're not missing much. You're missing 20%, 25%. Like compare to from 40K to 60K, or 40K to 75K or 100K, that's like nothing, right? You're missing 20%. So just wait. And I've been telling myself, I'm not just saying to you guys, I'm also saying to myself, because at some level I really want to buy, but you were not supposed to buy. Just wait until it breaks the 200 EMA, and then we'll be bullish again, right? Before that, the 5 wave could be very likely to play out. Okay, so that's the summary of the video. We just wait at this point and see if this point is gonna break below the low we had a few days ago, or if we were gonna have a high than the 200 EMA. If we're gonna break this lower low, then I see 20K incoming, right? I see the RSI drop to the low, like historical low again. And however, if we break the 200 EMA, then sure, I see bullish run again happening. So just wait and see if we're gonna break 30K, or if we're gonna break 42K, right? At that point, then we can make a decision and see if 20K is incoming, or maybe another bullish run incoming. So hopefully you guys like the video. I'm gonna keep this as a trading journal for myself so I don't make stupid mistakes like what I did before. I'm gonna watch this before I try to make a move. So thank you guys again, and I will see you next time.